All right, going to try to clear up some confusion we had about the speed of sound in air lab. So the idea is that we want to hear some sort of resonance. And that is when we get exactly 1/4 of a wavelength into the tube. So as I sound this, I've got a 320 hertz fork. There's that really loud spot right there. If I go lower, it's not there because I don't have 1/4 of a wavelength. I went lower, so there's less air. That's less than 1/4 of a wavelength, so there's not a chance to get that complete waveform to constructively reinforce and get that louder sound. So that's what we're calling the sweet spot. So if I measure it, I've got about, we'll call it 27 centimeters. Of course, you should probably measure a little bit more carefully than I would. The next wavelength is 3/4 of the next resonance is 3/4 of a wavelength. So that was 1/4 of a wavelength, about 27 centimeters. So the next one should be occurring around 75 centimeters. That tube's too long. So I'll get one of my shorter tubes, so 75 centimeters. It's going to be with it about this far into the water, so let's see what we can come up with. Right around there. So this should be about 3 times that other length, and I've got it as 81 centimeters, which is exactly 3 times the length. So 27 centimeters, 81 centimeters. The next idea is that with this whole setup, we are going to have 1/4 of a wavelength is 27 centimeters. 3/4 of a wavelength was 81 centimeters. My frequency was 320 hertz. That frequency was printed on the tuning fork. So if I subtract 3/4 of a wavelength and 1/4 of a wavelength, that's 2/4 of a wavelength, or half of a wavelength. 2/4 reduced to a half. If I subtract 81 and 27 centimeters, I'm going to get 23 plus 31, so I'm going to get 54 centimeters, or 0.54 meters. Wave speed is frequency times wavelength, which is 320 hertz times 0.54 meters. I'm sorry. This is what we had all been doing as a mistake in class, or a lot of us. Half of a wavelength is 0.54 meters. So the wavelength is twice that, which is 1.08 meters. Speed is frequency times wavelength, 320 hertz times 1.08 meters. So that's going to be, if I'm doing my math right, somewhere around 340 meters per second. You can calculate that exactly. And we had said we expected the speed to be somewhere around 343 or so. I think it's a little warmer now than it was this morning, but the result is about the same.